I think the IPU, the way that it has operated and continues to operate, is that we try and see what we can add to the existing discourses on what I consider to be the defining challenges of today. So, whether it is migration, whether it is terrorism, whether it is sustainable development, we really have a very strong engagement in all of those issues. And then, when we are looking at specific segments of the population, of course, women is a huge issue for the IPU. I consider ourselves to be trailblazers because we have been engaged in this subject now for 30 years, and we have a very active committee that's coordinating affairs of the women. And we believe that we have contributed, at least in part, to the success that we see in various sectors of gender. The message I think that the IPU sends out is that gender is an issue not just for women, it is for the benefit of men and women. So if men were to be standing on the sidelines and like a bystander and not engaging, I don't think they are helping themselves. So really by engaging in the gender agenda, I think men are helping men. And in the process, of course, the women benefit. And then collectively as men and women, we move forward. I think that is a very basic message that we are trying to get out. So it is in the interest of men to be involved in gender. And I think the quicker and the clearer we get that message across, the better off the world is going to be. In the country that I come from, Bangladesh, there, for instance, our Honorable Prime Minister is a woman. Our leader of the opposition is also a woman. The Speaker of the Parliament is a woman. Important ministries are headed by the women. And I think this has partly been due to the quota system that we have had. Although they are now all directly elected, we have a system which reserves seats for women. I don't envisage that continuing forever because I think this is more of a trigger mechanism. And once that trigger leads to dynamism of its own, you won't need that special attention or positive outlook. I think this is going to come naturally. But let me also make the point that it's not just numbers. It's not a number game. It's not how many women we have. While that is important because it indicates what progress we are making, what we also tend to look at is what is the contribution these women are making once having got into certain positions. So election on women MPs is important, for instance, but it's really what they do and how they establish themselves as women, how they contribute positively to the work. So I think equipping them and giving them the tools, giving them the empowerment is very essential because nothing breeds success like success. And once a women parliamentarian has been elected and she delivers, and let's face it, democracy is all about delivery. So as long as you can deliver, as long as you can work in a manner which is consistent with the aspirations of the people, you are really creating the case for more and more women to come into politics. And I think that's what we are trying to do. You, of course, have to pay special attention to the plight of women and children when it comes to the whole issue of migration. When you have a crisis, it's quite often those who don't have the empowerment, those who are marginalized in various sections of society, who suffer the most. They are the receiving end. So it's important to keep that in mind when we as parliamentarians engage. But if I look at it in terms of, does a parliamentarian bring to the discourse on migration? And I will refer to the 3 Ps. First, it's the power of policy, because as parliamentarians we shape policy. So if we can shape policy which promotes migration, which is humane, which takes into account the rights and dignity of the people, promote a rights-based approach basically, I think that's a place where we can make a huge difference. The second is what I would refer to as the power of pronouncements. The migration debate, unfortunately, is so one-sided and almost so caustic. There's a lot of hate that is in those discussions. So to reframe that discussion, to reframe the debate, I think what we as representatives of the public say makes a big difference. So through our pronouncements, we can try to put and bring into focus and the framework the more positive aspects of migration. I mean, migration has been there since the dawn of civilization. So it's here to stay, it's a reality. The challenge is to see how we adapt to it, how we manage it in a way which harnesses the potential of the migrants and at the same time respects their human rights. And the third P would be the power of purse, simply put. I mean, it's parliamentarians are the ones who appropriate resources, they sanction budgets, they approve expenditures. And I think as long as we can promote a pro-migrant policy, pro-migrant legislation, and support it with the resources, this is where fundamentally we can make a huge difference.